The lyrics to Burn by Faith are about religion, but I guess it's not an anti-religious song in any great sense. It's more about the things that people do in the name of God, and the sort of the killing and the death and the negative things that are justified in the name of a God. So for me, lyrically, one of the themes of Die Alone is, getting old, realising your own mortality, and the idea that, no matter what you do, everybody passes on at some point, and no matter who you are, where you are, or what you've done, everybody goes out the same way, basically. What about you, Charlie?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a positive message in the lyrics as well that kind of say, try and live your life to the fullest and as best you can.
Yeah.
To try and avoid dying alone. Musically, it was one of the first new pieces of music I wrote for the album.
Yeah, because we played it on tour, didn't we?
Yeah, we played it on tour, and it probably my favourite track on the album. We had a guy called Ian Cooper perform a string piece that I wrote on a MIDI keyboard, which is pretty cool to hear that come to life.
Charlie came up to Derby while I was still studying at university, a couple of months before we were due to drive out for the album recording. And this song lyrically was fully composed and written in my front room up there with a little help from one of my housemates as well. We just camped out for a day, and it was hard work at times, wasn't it? We didn't always agree on things.
Yeah, it was a hard song to kind of get off the ground. I think we both had different views on where we wanted to take it.
But I enjoyed it. I thought it was quite a rewarding process.
Yeah, it was cool.
And it's different for me as well. I don't collaboratively write lyrics ever, really. So it was nice.
We had our judgment-free zone.
Yeah, the judgment-free zone. So we had some pretty terrible ideas.
Some really bad ones.
Yeah, but you've got to go through those.
I suppose the core of it is a political song. It kind of touches on religion as well. I mean, it's not so much an issue here in the UK, but when I was in the States, I saw a lot of, religious propaganda, and it was just about how that kind of can manipulate society. It also touches on how the UK can go through so much and always bounce back. It's also anti-fascist, pro equal rights, and pro freedom of thought.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
Life and Death is a song I actually wrote ages ago now, because it went on the EP, and might even have been the second song we ever worked on together.
It was the second song.
Yeah, so the lyrics must be a couple of years old now actually, but there are, I think the key line for me in the song is as life and death become as meaningless as love and hate. Just the idea that sometimes when you're sort of in a rut, everything feels the same, like it's all just sort of shades of grey. You don't know whether, how you feel about people, you don't know whether you love them or you hate them,
I mean, my favourite line of the song is we are south of heaven, we are burning in hell, which was our little tribute to Jeff Hanneman from Slayer.
I built this place, brick by brick, you saw it.
Liberated Sounds was another song that came together during Charlie's trip up to Derby a couple of months ago. So it's quite a recent one again. For me, I think, the title says it all really, sort of Liberated Sounds. It's about feeling free creatively to do whatever you want to do, basically. We're not trying to get at anybody. We're not trying to slag off our old bands or anything. For me, it's just a song about being really happy right now, writing the music that we're writing and with the people that you're with, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to write a song like this and for it not to sound like a diss track, but it's not our intention. I think we wanted to write a song about us, and we were just honest with our feelings and our views on things within the lyrics. And yeah, it's just a fun, heavy, groovy party tune, really, but with a serious meaning.
I'd just been reading about shell shock and things like that, and I was inspired to write some lyrics about that. So at the same time as it being a sort of an homage to, you know, the bravery of war, it's also, for me, I wrote it for the people who come home from war and are never the same again, like, and the sort of stigma that was attached to shell shock after the First World War, when people didn't really understand what it was, and, you know, written off as cowardice and things like that. But actually, these men were sort of damaged mentally, and then had to go home and live with that for the rest of their lives. That was something that really inspired me to write these lyrics.
I think musically, running in the theme, for me anyway, it feels like it's kind of a tribute to Trooper by Iron Maiden. Obviously it doesn't sound the same, but I feel the kind of emotion that's caught in the music is very similar to that track.
And it's got a sweet solo.
And it's got a sweet solo. Yeah, Days Go By musically was originally written for my old band, and the singer was coming to my house to demo tracks, and I had been working on it for a few hours, and he turned up and just went, "Yeah, maybe you should save that for your side project," which always makes me laugh because I did, and now my side project's my main project. But yeah, I wrote all of the music quite a long time ago, and then I'd written, I think I wrote the first kind of chorusy verse thing in it, and that was kind of just about a relationship I had that I struggled to move past, and she kind of moved past it, and I had to kind of watch her go through all of that while I was kind of left just with all the wounds of the relationship. So that was what my share of the lyrics were about.
Yeah, I think that's a topic that a lot of people can relate to. So, you know, so I certainly related to it when I read those lyrics, and, you know, Charlie wrote the bulk of these lyrics, and then, you know, he gave them to me one day in his front room, and I had a little look, and I guess I added my own touch to a few of them, but, you know, Charlie's ideas are really still what that song is all about.
Yeah, I didn't want to come across like Drake or anything, so I tried to toughen them up as much as I could. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. That's Days Go By.
Yeah.
So when we were writing the album, we had quite a lot of catching up to do to kind of make deadlines. So me and Lascelles, we decided to get out of London for a few days and just concentrate on writing. We went to a small town called Whitstable. It's really nice, it's just like a beach town. And like a lot of albums, we wanted to have a melodic interlude, you know, / instrumental. One of my favourite tracks is Panic Caravan by Black Sabbath, and this is that's the kind of inspiration or blueprint for this. We really wanted to name it after something we saw a lot while we were in Whitstable, and there was a small cottage which looked quite scary at night, and it was called The Vines. So yeah, we thought it was a really fitting title for this track.
And Charlie's a big fan of
Fuck off!
indie band The Vines. Sands of Time was another track that we wanted to give a new lease of life to on the album. It's previously been on our War of the Wolf EP, and it's always been one of my favourite tracks to play, so I was really pleased that we were able to carry it over. It's just quite an angry song lyrically, about just wasting time, I guess, just being sort of stuck in the same repeated cycle and just watching things happen in front of you and not having the power to change anything, and just watching the sands of time just pass you by.
Yeah, I mean, re-recording songs is never something I like to do, but we felt with the band being so young and fresh and still kind of in baby steps, we felt that if people are introduced to Counting Days and the first thing they hear is this album, we kind of wanted it to be the best thing they could hear.
Yeah.
So we felt re-recording Life and Death and Sands of Time made the album as a whole a lot stronger.
It was really awesome, like an absolute privilege to have Thomas from At the Gates do some vocals on this track. We thought it was a really cool way to mix it up a bit from the EP version, and he's obviously a massive influence on us and on heavy music in general, so to see him in the studio over here singing our lyrics was really, really cool. Prison of Misery was another song, another one of the Derby session songs, another front room job.
The Kittens mix.
And genuinely, we just sort of sat down and said, let's write the heaviest lyrics we possibly can. And we came up with this concept of someone sort of mentally and physically sort of tearing themselves apart, like from the inside out, just from their own thoughts and being trapped inside their own head. And we went from there and just, we got silly with it really.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we felt like just having fun with it. The lyrics are in some ways quite corny, but I don't know, it just felt right to write lyrics.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call them corny, but maybe over the top perhaps. Yeah. We weren't, we didn't hold back.
Well, I always say we went full Grebo with the lyrics, which I think's fair to say. You can tell there's influences from bands like Slipknot and early Machine Head and stuff in there. Yeah,
it was the same sort of thought process behind it musically, wasn't it? Just sort of, what is the heaviest thing we can get away with
Like always, it was just, what's the heaviest thing I can write today?
Yeah. Cold Truth is quite a simple song, really. It came together very quickly lyrically, and also when we put the music to it, it all came together very fast. And really, it's just a song about just facing up to the bare facts. You don't have to like them, but that is the cold truth, and there's not really anything you can do about it. So, yeah.
It's about kind of facing reality and having to deal with it best you can. With the music, it was. I had the opening riff for a while. It looked like it was going to be one of those throwaway riffs. Then just after a band rehearsal, I played it to Lascelles, and he loved it. He thought it was wicked. So I was feeling quite inspired because obviously I've been playing guitar with everyone, and I was in a good mood, and we just hammered the bulk of the song out. In about 2 hours, I think. We came up with the verse riff and everything else just flowed. The solo I added quite late into the writing process, maybe a week or two before we left. But I'm glad I did. It definitely pulled the song pulled the song in and stopped it kind of being in filler territory. So yeah, to cut to the chase, this track, Reunion, is just about hooking up with your ex, be it for like the last time when you swap your stuff, or just when you randomly bump into each other and things just happen. It's something that's happened to me, which obviously inspired the lyrics, and it's just kind of about when it happens and they feel the same as they used to for you, and you do not feel the same you used to. And yeah, I mean, I don't know whether to call it an emotional song, because it's almost like there's no emotion in it, yet it's about relationships.
I guess it's about the lack of emotion.
Yeah. I guess it's the lack of emotion while performing an act that should be full of it.